What if the fear of losing something was the very thing that prevented you from truly enjoying it? What if the desperate attempt to cling to happiness was the one thing guaranteed to poison it? The Stoics discovered a profound paradox, that in learning to let go, we gain a strength and a peace that can never be taken away. This is the path to the unshakable core. How to face fear of loss. Inner Strength, Stoic Mind, compiled and published by Stoic Ruler. Lesson 1. Root cause of loss anxiety. Imagine yourself sitting on a beautiful beach, holding a handful of fine white sand. It represents something you treasure, a relationship, your health, your success. Overcome by a fear of losing it, you clench your fist tighter and tighter. But the tighter you squeeze, the more swiftly the sand escapes through the gaps between your fingers. This is the central, painful paradox of our anxiety about loss. The inner conflict is this desperate, white-knuckled attempt to hold on to the inherently impermanent aspects of our lives. The problem is that our very fear of future loss becomes a thief, robbing the present moment of its joy and peace. We cannot fully enjoy a loved one's company because we are haunted by the thought of their absence. We cannot fully appreciate our success because we are paralyzed by the fear of failure. The pain is that our frantic effort to prevent future suffering creates profound suffering right now. The transformative solution is to stop blaming the sand and instead examine the fist. The Stoics teach that the root cause of our anxiety is not the potential for external loss, but our internal judgment about it. It is our mistaken belief, our demanding judgment, that we are entitled to keep the sand forever. The core idea is that the world owes us nothing. Life is a series of gifts given on loan, not possessions granted in perpetuity. The anxiety comes not from the thing itself, but from our irrational demand that it never change. By identifying and questioning this inner judgment, we can begin to loosen our grip. To put this into practice, you must become a detective of your own mind. When you feel the gnawing anxiety of potential loss, pause. Instead of focusing on the external object of your fear, turn your attention inward. Ask yourself with genuine curiosity, what is the specific judgment I am making right now? What am I telling myself I must not lose in order to be okay? You will likely find a silent, deeply held belief like, I cannot be happy without this person, or losing this job would be a catastrophe. Acknowledge that this judgment, this story you are telling yourself, is the true source of your pain, not the external thing itself. The benefit of this introspective practice is the beginning of liberation. You start to untangle your well-being from the volatile fortunes of the external world. The positive transformation is from being a person whose happiness is constantly held hostage by circumstance, to becoming a person who is building their peace on the unshakable foundation of their own mind. Your call to action is to identify one thing you fear losing. Then, identify the underlying judgment you hold about it. Simply seeing the judgment for what it is, an opinion, not a fact, is the first, most powerful step. This is the continuous journey of finding the true root of your fear. Once we identify the flawed judgment, we need to build a new kind of mental defense to protect ourselves. Our next lesson explores the emotional armor of the Stoic. To begin constructing your inner strength, please like this video and subscribe to Stoic Ruler. Lesson 2. Emotional armor of the Stoic. Imagine two warriors preparing for battle. The first warrior encases himself in thick, rigid plates of steel. He can barely move, and while the armor might deflect a direct blow, its very rigidity makes it brittle. A powerful enough shock will not bend it, but shatter it completely. The second warrior wears finely crafted, flexible mail. It moves with his body, absorbing and distributing the force of a blow, making him resilient and agile. The inner conflict we face is our instinct to build the first kind of armor around our hearts. We try to protect ourselves from the pain of loss by becoming rigid, by building walls, by pretending we do not care. The problem is that this brittle emotional armor, forged from denial, only ensures that when loss inevitably comes, we do not bend, we shatter. The pain is the complete and utter devastation that follows when our rigid defenses prove to be a catastrophic failure. The transformative solution is to weave the flexible, resilient armor of the Stoic. This armor is forged not from denial, but from a courageous and proactive practice known as premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of future evils. The core idea is that by calmly and rationally contemplating the possibility of loss in advance, during times of peace, we build psychological resilience. This is not morbid or pessimistic worrying. It is a calm, strategic practice of familiarizing the mind with the nature of reality. It is a way of rehearsing for adversity, so that when it arrives, it is not a shocking trauma, but an expected event for which we are prepared. This is the flexible armor that bends without breaking. To forge this armor, you can incorporate a brief practice into your daily routine. Take a few moments in the morning to reflect on the things and people you value. As you feel the warmth of gratitude, gently introduce the thought of their impermanence. You might hold a treasured object and think, "This is a beautiful thing, and one day it will not be mine." You might think of a loved one and reflect, "I am so grateful for this person in my life today, knowing that all things are transient." The purpose is not to create fear, but to dissolve it through familiarity. It deepens your appreciation for the present moment because you are acutely aware of its precious, fleeting nature. The benefit of this practice is the cultivation of a robust and resilient spirit. When life delivers its inevitable blows, you will not be shattered. You will feel the pain of loss, for you are human, but it will not break you. The positive transformation is from being a fragile person living in constant fear of being broken to becoming a resilient warrior, able to face life's challenges with grace and fortitude. Your motivational practice is to choose one small thing you value today. Take a moment to appreciate it fully, while simultaneously acknowledging to yourself that it is not permanent. Feel how this deepens, rather than diminishes, your present appreciation. This is the continuous process of weaving your emotional armor. This practice of premeditation might sound cold or detached. How can we contemplate loss without becoming indifferent? Our next lesson addresses this crucial distinction. If you wish to forge your own armor, subscribe to our channel and share your thoughts below. Lesson 3. Detachment without indifference. Imagine a master gardener tending to a bed of exquisite roses. She pours her love and attention into them, watering them, feeding them, and protecting them from pests. She appreciates their vibrant color, their delicate structure, and their intoxicating fragrance with her entire being. Yet she does so with the full, serene knowledge that in a season, these perfect blossoms will fade and fall. Her acceptance of their impermanence does not diminish her love for them. In fact, it makes her appreciation even more profound and poignant. The inner conflict we face is the false belief that to protect ourselves from the pain of loss, we must stop caring. We confuse detachment with indifference. The problem is that this fear of detachment leads us to the opposite extreme, a desperate, clinging possession. We think, my partner, my job, my reputation, as if they were permanent extensions of ourselves. This transforms love into a source of anxiety and makes us terrified of the very idea of letting go. The transformative solution is to embrace the gardener's wisdom by understanding the crucial Stoic distinction between detachment and indifference. Indifference is a lack of feeling. It is the cold state of not caring. Detachment, in the Stoic sense, is not about the absence of love, but the absence of clinging. It is the wisdom to love things, people, and experiences fully, without making your inner peace dependent upon their permanence. The core idea is to shift your mindset from ownership to appreciation. You are not the owner of the things in your life. You are a grateful steward, a temporary caretaker. This perspective allows you to love with an open hand rather than a clenched fist. To cultivate this healthy detachment, you must practice changing the language of your thoughts. When you think of a person you love, consciously shift the framing from, "This person is mine and I can't lose them," to, "I am so grateful to have the gift of this person's presence in my life at this time." When you achieve a success, shift from, "I have to hold on to this status at all costs," to, "I will enjoy and learn from this experience for as long as it lasts." This is not a mere semantic trick. It is a profound realignment of your relationship with reality. It replaces the anxiety of possession with the joy of appreciation. The benefit of this practice is that it allows you to love more purely and fearlessly. When you are not terrified of losing something, you are free to enjoy it completely in the present moment. The positive transformation is from being a fearful, grasping person to becoming a loving, appreciative one. Your heart becomes more open, not less, because it is no longer armored with the fear of being broken. Your call to action is to choose one relationship or possession you tend to cling to. For the rest of the day, every time you think of it, consciously practice the reframe from mine to a gift. Notice how it changes the quality of your feeling. This is the continuous journey of learning to love with wisdom. This mindset of appreciative detachment is built upon a foundational acceptance of how the world truly works. Our next lesson delves into the necessity of embracing the nature of change. To continue learning how to love wisely, please like this video and subscribe to Stoic Ruler. Lesson 4. Accepting the nature of change. Imagine standing on the shore of a vast ocean, watching the tide roll in and out. A fool would stand at the water's edge and command the tide to stop, growing angrier and more exhausted as the waves continue their eternal rhythm, indifferent to his commands. A wise person, however, understands that the ebb and flow of the tide is the very nature of the ocean. They do not fight it, they adapt to it. They build their sandcastles knowing they are temporary. They time their swims with the currents. They find beauty and power in the ceaseless motion. Our life is this ocean. The inner conflict is that we often act like the fool on the shore. We build our lives and our happiness on the assumption of permanence, and then we are filled with rage and despair when the inevitable tide of change comes and alters our landscape. The problem is that fighting change is a battle we are guaranteed to lose, and it is a primary source of our suffering. The transformative solution is to become the wise surfer who learns to ride the waves, rather than the fool who tries to stop them. It is the deep, soul-level acceptance of the most fundamental law of the universe. Everything changes. The core Stoic idea, inherited from earlier philosophers like Heraclitus, is that all is in flux, panta rhei. To align oneself with nature, a central goal of Stoicism, is to align oneself with the reality of change. Acceptance of this truth is not a passive surrender. It is a strategic and empowering alignment with reality. It frees up the immense energy we waste in futile resistance and allows us to use that energy to adapt, learn, and grow. To weave this acceptance into your being, you must practice observing change on a micro level. Pay attention to the small, constant fluxes of daily life that you normally ignore. Watch the clouds shift and reform in the sky. Notice the way the light changes in your room throughout the day. Observe a plant in your home, noticing its slow but constant growth. As you observe these things, you can say to yourself, this is the nature of things. This is flow. By making peace with change in these small, non-threatening ways, you build the mental and emotional muscle needed to face larger, more significant life changes with the same equanimity. The benefit of this profound acceptance is the dissolution of a huge amount of anxiety and frustration. You cease to be shocked and offended by the natural unfolding of life. The positive transformation is from being a person who is constantly fighting against the current, growing ever more tired and bitter, to becoming a person who moves through life with a sense of grace, agility, and ease. You become a masterful surfer on the waves of existence. Your motivational practice for today is to find 3 examples of change, no matter how small, and to consciously meet them with the thought, this is the nature of things. This is the continuous journey of making peace with reality. What if we could take this acceptance a step further? What if we could see loss not just as something to be accepted, but as something that can liberate us? Our next lesson explores the powerful art of reframing loss. Subscribe to our channel to learn this advanced Stoic skill. Lesson 5. Reframing loss as liberation. Imagine a great oak tree in late autumn. As the days grow shorter, it does not desperately cling to its beautiful summer leaves. It does not see the shedding of its foliage as a catastrophic loss. Instead, it willingly, gracefully lets them go. The tree understands instinctively that this release is not an ending, but a necessary act of liberation. It is letting go of what can no longer be sustained in order to conserve its vital energy for survival through the winter and for glorious new growth in the spring. The inner conflict we face is our rigid, automatic framing of every loss as a pure deficit, a tragedy, a terrible subtraction from our lives. The problem with this frame is that it traps us. It blinds us to any other possibility, locking us into a story of victimhood and grief. It prevents us from seeing the new space that has been created. The pain is the prison of a single negative story. The transformative solution is to become like the wise tree by learning the Stoic art of cognitive reframing. It is the discipline of consciously challenging our initial negative interpretation of an event and actively searching for alternative perspectives. The core idea is that no external event is inherently and exclusively negative. It is our judgment, our frame, that makes it so. By changing the frame, we can change the entire emotional and practical meaning of the event. The Stoic does not deny the pain of loss, but asks a courageous and creative question. Given that this has happened, what opportunity has been created? What am I now free to do, be, or become? To put this powerful tool into practice, you must train yourself to ask better questions in the face of loss. After you have allowed yourself to feel the initial pain, you must pivot to a new line of inquiry. Ask yourself, what has this loss made possible? What new path has opened up now that the old one is closed? What strength am I being called upon to develop? The loss of a job, for example, can be reframed as the liberation to pursue a more authentic career. The end of a relationship can be reframed as the freedom to rediscover oneself. This is not about pretending the loss didn't happen. It is about refusing to let the loss have only one negative meaning. The benefit of mastering reframing is a profound increase in your resilience and creativity. You will develop the empowering ability to find opportunity in adversity and strength in what seems like weakness. The positive transformation is from being a person who is crushed by life's setbacks to becoming a person who is able to use them as stepping stones for growth and renewal. Your call to action is to think of a small loss or setback you have experienced recently. Take 5 minutes and write down 3 possible ways it could be reframed as a form of liberation or an opportunity. This is the continuous practice of becoming the author of a more empowering life story. All of these mental practices are most effective when we are grounded in the here and now. Our next lesson focuses on the vital practice of choosing presence over the anxiety of possession. If you are ready to find freedom in loss, please like this video and share your thoughts. Lesson 6. Practicing presence over possession. Imagine 2 people visiting a magnificent art gallery. The first person, gripped by a sense of possession, spends their entire time taking photos of every painting. They are not truly seeing the art. They are focused on capturing it, on getting it, on creating a record so they can possess the experience later. They leave with a full camera, but an empty memory. The second person, practicing presence, puts their camera away. They stand before a single painting and allow themselves to be completely absorbed by it, the colors, the textures, the emotions. They leave with no photos, but with the richness of a true, deep experience etched into their soul. The inner conflict is that our fear of loss turns us into the first type of person. We are so focused on trying to possess and secure the good things in our lives for the future that we fail to be truly present with them now. The problem is that this anxiety about future loss utterly destroys the value of present enjoyment. The transformative solution is to choose presence over possession. It is the deliberate practice of bringing your full, undivided attention to the experience you are having in this very moment, without trying to cling to it or make it last forever. The core Stoic idea of prosoche, or attention, is key here. It is the understanding that the only time we are ever truly alive is right now. The past is a memory, and the future is a fantasy. By grounding ourselves in the present, we escape the fear-driven trap of "what if I lose this?" and enter the joyful reality of "I have this now." This shift in focus is the ultimate antidote to the anxiety of loss. To cultivate this state of presence, you must train your attention like a muscle. When you are with a person you love, make the conscious effort to truly listen to them, to look at their face, to be with them completely, instead of letting your mind worry about the future. When you are enjoying a meal, pay attention to the tastes and textures, instead of scrolling on your phone. A simple and powerful technique is to use your breath as an anchor. Whenever you feel your mind drifting toward the anxiety of possession, gently guide your focus back to the physical sensation of one single breath. This act of returning to the present, again and again, is the practice. The benefit of this discipline is the rediscovery of the richness of your own life. The joy you derive from your relationships and experiences will multiply because you will finally be showing up for them completely. The positive transformation is from being a frantic, anxious collector of moments to becoming a calm, centered experiencer of life. You will find that the more you practice being present, the less power the fear of future loss has over you. Your motivational practice is to choose one activity today, drinking a cup of tea, listening to a song, talking with a friend, and commit to being 100% present for it, free from the desire to possess it forever. This is the continuous journey of finding eternity in the present moment. This presence, this strength, this entire Stoic mindset does not just appear by magic. It must be forged. Our final lesson is about the necessity of building this inner strength every single day. Subscribe to our channel to learn how to forge your own unshakable core. Lesson 7. Building inner strength daily. Imagine a blacksmith forging a legendary sword. Does he create it in a single brilliant flash of inspiration? No. He takes a simple piece of metal and subjects it to a relentless, disciplined process. Day after day, he heats it in the fire, hammers it on the anvil, and quenches it in water. It is this daily, repetitive, and often unglamorous process that transforms the soft, raw iron into a blade of incredible strength, flexibility, and resilience. Your inner strength is this sword. The inner conflict is our desire for a quick fix, an instant solution to our fear of loss. We read an inspiring quote or watch a video and hope that this single insight will permanently solve our problem. The problem is that resilience is not an idea we understand. It is a quality we forge. When a real, devastating loss occurs, an unpracticed intellectual understanding will shatter like cheap glass. True strength must be built. The transformative solution, the final and most crucial lesson, is to commit to the daily work of the blacksmith. It is to embrace the Stoic view of philosophy as a practice, an ascesis, a daily training regimen for the soul. The core idea is that inner strength, like physical strength, is the cumulative result of consistent daily effort. You cannot go to the gym once and become strong forever. Likewise, you cannot simply understand these principles. You must live them, practice them, and forge them into the very fiber of your being, day after day. This daily discipline is what transforms fragile iron into unbreakable steel. To become the blacksmith of your own soul, you must choose your daily practice and commit to it with unwavering discipline. This is your forge. It does not need to be long or complex. You could commit to 5 minutes of Stoic journaling each morning, reflecting on the principles and preparing for the day ahead. You could read a single page from Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, or Epictetus, and spend the day contemplating its meaning. You could practice the premeditatio malorum, or a moment of mindfulness, as we have discussed. The specific practice is less important than the rhythm and consistency of it. It is the daily act of showing up at the forge that builds the strength. The benefit of this commitment is the creation of a genuinely unshakable inner core. You will develop a strength of character that does not fail you when you need it most. The positive transformation is the ultimate one. From being a person who is terrified of what life might take away, to becoming a person who is confident in their ability to handle whatever life brings. You will have forged a soul that is strong, resilient, and free. Your final and most important call to action is to choose your practice. What will be your daily act of forging? Decide now and schedule it for tomorrow. This is the continuous, noble work of building a life of true inner strength. Today, We have learned to unmask the fear of loss, to see it not as a threat, but as a call to practice. By embracing the nature of change, practicing presence, and forging our inner strength daily, we can live with love, courage, and a profound, unshakable peace. Thank you for walking this path with us. If this guide has helped you find strength, please like this video, share your chosen daily practice in the comments, and subscribe to Stoic Ruler to continue your journey.